Good evening. How my beautiful people doing today, y'all? Blessed, highly favored, making ends meet, doing the things you have to do to not only succeed but survive in these tough times. All right. So, you ever got told you still the same person? You will never amount to nothing. How you gonna grow and mature if you're complacent? You ain't gonna never mature because you're still the same person. Well, think about it like this. A lot of people have this and that to say, but overall, their overall thought process and what they have is what they think you should be as a person. When that doesn't equate to who you are and the foundation and the soil that you are rooted in, what are you saying? You can remain the same person as in your core values, your foundation, what you believe in, and still grow. It's like a seed. When you put a seed into the soil and you water it and it takes root and it gets solid and it begins to grow, that is the foundation. The roots are the foundation of the seed that you planted into the ground. So because that your roots are on solid foundation, as you begin to water the plant, it begins to grow. What are you saying? So watering the plant, stimulating your mind as you begin to stimulate your mind and overall mature as an individual, your core values and stuff will never change because your foundation is already solid. So you can still remain the same, but in the process of that same solid foundation, you are still able to grow. And in the process of growing, you still can remain true to yourself. And it doesn't equate to being complacent. Some people think that, oh, you still the same person. You ain't gonna never grow. You're being complacent. When they take out the actuality that you just have a strong foundation, so as a result of a strong foundation, your roots gonna grow. I mean, it's no need to change who you are as an individual. The overall idea is to mature as an individual, and that maturing is that water constantly pouring over, adding to the solid foundation that you already have. What's the point of taking a seed out of already rooted solid foundation and putting it in new soil if the soil was nothing wrong with it? Ain't nothing wrong with learning new things. There's nothing wrong with, being showed different ways of doing things and taking a different viewpoint on different things. But you can still do that and still have a solid foundation. There's no point in changing your soil if your soil is already solid. You got to think like this. All right, another example. You go to school, you learn. You going to school, right? You learning, right? You didn't learn the basics. So the basic, adding, subtracting, multiplication, and etc. All right. So that's the foundation of math. That's the foundation, right? So you already know the foundation. So now you getting into the more complicated things, but even though you're in the more complicated sense and you learning more and you stimulating your mind and you growing upward as a person, your roots are still solid in that foundation. Again, back to number one. Your roots can still remain growth on the things and the core values that you believe in, and also you can still grow in that process because you are on solid foundation. All right. So I think that makes sense. So solid foundation is very important. So when you have that solid foundation, you are able to not only mature, but you don't have to go back and redo it and lay that foundation down again because it's already solid. And you gotta also think, all right. So when you see stuff, when people say you remain the same, you're still the same person, you still do this, you still do that. Well, you gotta think about it. Growth is sometimes it can be spiritually, sometimes it can be mentally. Growth is more than skin deep. See, a person can see all the what you wear, how you interact with people, your overall thought process. They can see it from an outwardly standpoint. But if they don't truly know your heart, if they don't truly know how you move, and if they don't truly know your mind, if they can't truly bethune the way you think, the way you move, in your overall thought process, then they can never understand who you are as a person. So let that marinate in your body like neck bone juice. Let that marinate in your body like, when you eat that crawfish and you sucking the head on the crawfish or whatever may be the case, just to give you a little laughter. But overall, you can still stay true to your core values, and in the process of staying true to your core values, you're growing, your branches are branching off, you're learning more knowledge, you're maturing as an individual, but you still have that solid foundation. Don't let a person tell you, oh, you still the same person. That just means that your foundation is still strong. You can have a strong foundation and still find a way to grow. It's not that complicated. NWB Right coming to you live for the one time. We're going to keep it G all the way free. You already know what the rest. 100% me. What are you doing?